his season average. Houston now cuts the lead down to 8. Clippers have led by as many as 17. Jackson loses a couple of defenders, but can't get the three to fall. Zoo with the rebound.
You know, a lot of people pick the Clippers to be the team that, you know, will represent the West and the team that will go to the NBA Finals and win it, you know, this year. And, you know, when I look at this team, I've said the last several videos since the season started and even in preseason that I see, you know, some issues with this team, basically. If you've been watching any of the videos I put out here lately, I've been pointing out some good of the Clippers, but I also been pointing out some bad of the Clippers. You know, there has to be some objectivity there as well because, you know, these are the things that I'm seeing. So when I say that, you know, some of the things that I see, some of the bad habits I see that the Clippers have that are, you know, worrisome, that's not going to work. You know, it's not going to work to have those type issues. And, you know, one issue that I see, you know, with the Clippers, of course, that everybody can see is health, right? But, you know, besides health, you know, and I want to be clear when I preface this, besides health, I see, you know, players on the Clippers being lackadaisical at times still. And, you know, it's almost as if like going into this season, I felt like the Clippers would be more, they would play more hungry. They would play more desperate. They would play more with the understanding of knowing what this season is about. Now, they did beat the Rockets last night. They beat the Rockets the last two occasions. They played the Rockets back-to-back times. They did beat them both times. Paul George had to hit a game-winning shot to beat the Rockets a few nights ago, you know, in LA here. But and last night, you know, they, you know, beat the Rockets 109-101, and that's great and all. But the problem that I'm seeing is when I say certain players are supposed to be, you know, better, supposed to play better, I don't just mean, you know, a player like Paul George. I want to narrow it down to a player that I've given credit to the last couple seasons. And his gameplay is not up to the level I think it should be, and it's not going to work for the Clippers if they continue utilizing him in this way, or if he doesn't pick up his gameplay himself. So the player I'm talking about is Reggie Jackson. You know, Reggie Jackson to me is one of those players for the Clippers that, you know, has been there a few years. He understands what his role is and everything like that. But when you, in the regular season this year, he's averaging 29 minutes per game. He's giving you 9 points per game. And on top of that, you know, he's shooting 34% from the field. And he's shooting 22 or 23% from three. That's not good. That's not good at all. And to even preface that even further, if he's going to be a starter for the Clippers, that's not good at all because he's only giving them 4 assists a game. Now, I understand his career, he's only averaged about 4 assists per game. But now that the Clippers have John Wall, it's almost as if, like, why have Reggie start? Why should Reggie be starting if he's only going to give you 4 assists, which understandably, that's what he's pretty much given out his career because he's not really a point guard. Reggie Jackson is a shooting guard. He's a 2. He's not a 1. So, I mean, if anything, you know, the Clippers are putting him in bad position because he's not playing to the level that he should play because really, you know, he understands the role of being a point guard for the Clippers and everything like that. But at the same time, that's not really his position. Last year when he played, you know, when he was with when he played, you know, for the Clippers and everything, there was no Kawhi, there was no PG. So he had to be the point guard and he had the green light to score more. Now that PG is back, now they added John Wall, and basically you could say somewhat, you know, Kawhi Leonard's back now. His role and his thought process on the floor is different. It's like it's changing. It's like it's changed. It's like his mentality has changed to, oh, I need to be a point guard first because Ty Lue made me the point guard of this team, and basically having John Wall come off the bench. That was the mentality. That was the notion going into this season. So his mentality has changed to me as a player. And I feel like, you know, watching Reggie Jackson, I feel like he's kind of confused somewhat of what he should be doing. Should he be scoring as a number 2, or should he strictly play the role as a number 1 and let everybody else eat, and he eats on the back end, you know, scoring wise? And I feel like that's the way he's playing, and I feel like that's not helping Reggie Jackson in regards to, you know, him helping the team. and playing at the level that they know that he can, because I can tell you this much. If Reggie Jackson was playing at the level of how he did maybe a couple seasons ago in the playoffs, or hell, how he did last year, throughout that season when, PG was out for 40 games and Kawhi was out the whole year, how he played last year was much better because he played with more of a sense of urgency, because he was the point guard and the shooting guard for the Clippers. Now it's like they're asking him to regress. Oh, just be the point guard, be the one, run the offense exactly how I want you to, and still go out there and be yourself. That's very hard to do for a player like Reggie Jackson. The only players that really actually, commend to things like that at times are superstars. Role players are role players. They're supposed to do one role. That's it. That's what they're really good at. That's where their brain is actually trained to do. That's what they're wired to do. They're not a superstar where they can do multiple things and do this, do that, and still be effective at the same time. That's what superstars do, in my estimation. So I feel like, the Clippers, either they're going to have to, sit down Reggie and really, figure out a game plan so he can, input his will on games the way he was last year. I mean, especially near the end of last season. I mean, he was really cooking. So this is my point. Like, to get the best out of all your players, you got to put them in the best position. So I have to blame Ty Lue for that, because you're kind of going back and forth with Reggie, and the as far as the 1 and the 2, it's like he plays the 1, but he's still trying to, be a 2. And, it's just a lot of confusion to me. And this is the reason why I said Ty Lue has to really, put something in place for this team to really succeed. And I know it's hard, it's not easy, especially with all these expectations that the Clippers have as far as being a title contender and everything that you're hearing on ESPN and all the sports stations and everything like that. But it's very really unheard of, looking at Reggie Jackson these last couple years. I wouldn't expect him to come into this season, only shooting like 34% from the field and like 22% from 3. I mean, for his career, he's 34% from the 3-point line for his career. So that means every season he comes in, or every season he goes out there and play, he's at least shooting 32 to 33% from the field on average. You know what I'm saying? Usually every season. And so far, it's early this season. I do understand that. But these are numbers that Reggie Jackson just doesn't put up. If Reggie Jackson was putting up these type of numbers throughout his career, he wouldn't be in the NBA right now. He really wouldn't be. So it's like, if the Clippers want to be a good team, your core players, you have to get the best out of them. The young guys, understandably so, it's a growing process with them. That's how it is with any NBA team, any team out there, any sports team. That's how it is. You got to have your growing pains with young players, but your core players should be playing a lot better, a lot more sound, and they should be a lot more in tune and in depth with the operation and how everything is supposed to be ran. And the way Reggie Jackson is playing, this is not going to work. You see what I'm saying? The way Reggie Jackson's playing, one or two things is going to happen. He's going to keep playing this bad where they'll lose games, and they'll be in a lot more close games than they should, where they should be blowing teams out by 10, 15 points, or he's going to work his way to the bench and be a reserve player, and John Wall be in the starting lineup, which I said in the beginning, that's where I said before the season started, that's probably how it would end up anyway. I can honestly see, Reggie Jackson starting is what I said before in preseason, before the season started. I said I could see Reggie Jackson starting, but in the long run, mid-season, late season, I could see John Wall being the guy to start. And I said that before the season started. So I feel like that's going to come, to life, but I feel like it's going to come to life a lot sooner than what I thought it would, because these numbers that Reggie Jackson's putting up, like I said, either Ty Lue's not putting him in the best position to be the player that he played like last year and the way he played the prior season in the playoffs, Or, as I said, he's just regressing because he really doesn't know what he should be doing. Because, as I said, naturally he's a two guard. He's not a point guard naturally. So when you're asking him to do this with the pressure of John Wall sitting on the bench, knowing that this guy is an actual true number one, it puts more pressure on Reggie to make all the right passes, make all the right reads, make all take all the high quality shots, possible, and don't, do anything crazy. You see what I'm saying? And Reggie Jackson's game is built more on high scoring, or I shouldn't say high scoring. His game is built more on, scoring the basketball and, finding his rhythm and, maybe average a few, like 4 or 5 assists here and there, but he's a shooting guard. So, it's like asking him to be a point guard over and over and over, year after year, is probably not going to work for the Clippers. And especially now that John Wall sitting on the bench, as I said, that puts more pressure on Reggie Jackson to do everything as perfect as possible, because he knows John Wall could take his starting spot at any time. And eventually he will, especially if Reggie keeps playing like this. So either they're going to have to drop him from the starting lineup, which I feel like that's going to happen eventually, or he's going to have to pick it up a lot more, because he's averaging 29 minutes per game. He's playing superstar minutes per game. He's playing, he's logging in big minutes per game, only giving you 9 points per game, when his career average minutes wise is about 25 minutes per game for his career, and his career average points wise from 2011 to now has been 13 points a game. So it's like in his career, he's played less minutes, gave you more points, better field goal percentage. I think he shot 42% from the field. He shoots 42% from the field for his career, and he's giving you a better 3-point percentage and everything across the board for his career, rather than what you're seeing this year. So changes are going to have to be made soon if the Clippers want to be good, because even if Kawhi Leonard comes back and everything is okay, they still need Reggie Jackson, because Reggie Jackson is one of those guys who can get hot, and when Reggie gets cooking, hey, they don't call him Reggie Hot Sauce Jackson for no reason. You see what I'm saying? That's his nickname for a reason, because when he cook, he can cook. You see what I'm saying? And what he showed in the playoffs a couple seasons ago, before Kawhi got hurt against Utah, he showed that he can be that third guy that they need to score. Now he doesn't really have to be that. He can be like the fourth guy, but still, Reggie Jackson is playing 29 minutes per game. He should be scoring more than 9 points. Point blank period. He should be scoring double digits at bare minimum. He should not be scoring anything under double digits playing that amount of minutes per game so far this season. And like the last 3 games against the Rockets, so he had 12 points, I believe, last night against the Rockets. He shot 4 for 11, which is not good. He's 0 for 4 from 3. The prior game against the Rockets, he scored 6 points, 2 for 11, 0 for 6 from 3. That's not Reggie Jackson. That's not that's not the Reggie Jackson they need in the starting lineup. Honestly, that's not the Reggie Jackson they need on their team. They need the better version of Reggie Jackson, which was last year and the prior year when he was in the playoffs. That's the Reggie Jackson they need. And, I'll say this. And also the game before that, the last 2 Rockets games, the game before those 2 against the Pelicans, he had 9 points. He was 4 for 12, and he was 1 for 7 from 3. You see what I'm getting at? It's like it's a trend. It's a pattern here. Something is going wrong. Something's wrong with the way Reggie Jackson's playing, and a lot of people aren't talking about it, but it's really becoming noticeable even more and more. Now, like I said, it's early in the season. We're only 8 games in. We understand that, but at the same time, you still have to go by what the reports are. You still have to go by with what you see. And what I'm seeing from Reggie Jackson, that's not going to help the Clippers be a championship team, because even if Reggie comes off the bench, he still has to be more productive than that. I think Reggie, if he did come off the bench, I think he would score about 8 or 9 points coming off the bench rather than being the starting lineup scoring 8 or 9 points per game. That's not going to work. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not really all upset or whatever at Reggie. It's just the fact that I just really think that Ty Lue is really, I don't know, I feel like his coaching method is fading. You see what I'm saying? And, a lot of people don't want to say it, but I'll be the first to tell you. Ty Lue, he gets a lot of respect, but he also got a lot of his, learning and a lot of his coaching style from the coach that the Clippers departed with, which was Doc Rivers. Because he was the assistant coach for the Clippers, at one point, and Doc Rivers taught him a lot of things about coaching, and schooled him a lot. And of course that's a good thing, learning from somebody who's been in the league, who's played in the league, who's coached, who's won a championship before. That's a good thing. But something nobody talks about. Doc Rivers has one championship with the Celtics, an all-time Celtics team that looks like KG, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Rajon Rondo. I mean, come on, the list goes on and on. They had an all-time starting team. Seemed like they had an all-time team on the floor. Nobody could really beat them. They were really tough. So he has a championship with a team like that. And Ty Lue has a championship with LeBron in his prime, Kyrie in his prime, and Kevin Love in his prime. You see what I'm talking about? This is the problem I'm talking about. When you have overwhelming talent like that on your team, yeah, you could win a championship. But how come, as a coach, Doc Rivers only won one championship? Ty Lue has only won one championship as a coach. And this is my point. I love Ty Lue. I like him as a person. I listen to his interviews a lot. I hear him speak a lot. He sounds like a good guy and all those things. But with the talent that he's had on this team, or the talent he has on this team right now, even without Kawhi Leonard, they should not have a losing record. Or should I say, they should not be 4-4. Not with this team. And this is why I said he's not getting the best out of all his players. And my thing is, he's not getting the best out of his core players. And that's one issue that I used to see with Doc Rivers when he coached this team as well. Kawhi, PG, you're going to win a lot of games off of their talent. Of course, absolutely so. But at the same time, when it comes down to playing teams who really have continuity, that's where you're going to struggle. That's where talent goes out the window. That's where chemistry has to come in, because you have to be able to match that, against the opposing team. If they got good chemistry, that's the reason why you're going to falter in the situation. That's the reason why the Clippers imploded in the bubble, because Denver had more chemistry. Denver was more together. Denver was more of a unity type team, where the Clippers were just this team that everybody anointed and put up there as this superstar tandem team where they're supposed to win the championship because they're the new kids on the block, and Kawhi was fresh off a championship. Yes, understandably so, but Kawhi can't do it all himself. You need your role players, and Reggie Jackson is one of those role players that can make a difference for this team, not only when Kawhi is there, but especially when Kawhi is not there. Because right now, if Reggie Jackson was playing a lot better within the 29 minutes he gets per game, the Clippers wouldn't be 4-4. They would actually be 6-2 or 7-1, or possibly, possibly they might be 8-0. You never know. But my point is, either way you look at it, it doesn't matter. This has to be fixed. It has to get better, because if it doesn't, as I said, if your core players are not playing to the level of expectation that they should, there's no way a team is going to win a championship. Or I'll say it this way. I shouldn't say there's no way they'll win a championship, but it's going to be damn hard to win a championship. And what I mean by that is, it might take a Herculean effort from Kawhi that it took a couple seasons ago when they battled Dallas down 0-2, down against Utah 0-2 in that series. And they were down against the Phoenix Suns 0-2 in that series. And this is what I'm saying. You don't want to have it always come down to a Herculean effort to win series and win games when it really matters the most. You want to be able to get the best out of all your core players, know how to get the best out of them, and allow them to play freely through the offense where they feel comfortable and there's no confusion. And I feel like right now it's like that, but I mean, the Clippers do have something in their favor. They do have time to fix that. They do have time to get healthy, and we'll just have to see if all that comes to life. But as for right now, I'm not sure, how they're going to look going forward. They're pretty much a Jekyll and Hyde team right now. They're 4-4, I believe, as I said, which is, 500 basketball, which they shouldn't be. But at the same time, you are what your record is. And that's what we have to go by. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section. Check out my other videos if you haven't. And hey, till next time.